but it's bloody dismal. October the 14th, is it? Nearly 15th, and we're not even at the end of autumn. Or are we? Let's see. October, November, December. When does winter count? When does winter? Fucking, I can't speak properly, and I'm swearing. I need to cut out the swearing. This is a family show. So yeah, when does winter start? Is it 1st of November? But yeah, it's really cold. And this room, what I'm in now, it used to be a bathroom, but my mother converted it into a bedroom. So we've got a downstairs toilet. So this room just generally is freezing. So I've got the little gas heater on. If you could feel my hands, it'd be like I was building a bloody snowman. Some snowballs. So I've just done my nebulizers. I did the Ventolin. I've done the saline, and then I finished off with the gentamicin. And it's quite long-winded, and that's twice a day. But sometimes I don't have it in me twice a day, which is, it's quite difficult, as you can imagine. But most times I try to at least complete a dose of antibiotics, get the Ventolin and saline. But it does take it out your body. You feel this exhaustion where if you probably, what's the word, spaced it out throughout the day. But the only thing is, I can't really space it out because I've got an antibiotic, so I couldn't really take the saline after the antibiotic because we want to keep that in the lungs as long as possible. So say for instance, I did a Ventolin nebulizer, then I did a gentamicin followed by it, and then a few hours later I started feeling mucosa, and I decided to do a saline and basically killing all that antibiotic that's staying in my lungs. Now it's not so bad if I do it 8 hours apart, because most of that antibiotic would have been, digested by the lungs, so to speak. So then if I repeat that process, it's not too bad. So yeah, really, ideally, I want to be doing it one after each other. And you also can't take the steroid inhaler after the gentamicin, because that also kills the gentamicin antibiotic. So there's a bit of a protocol when you are doing nebulized antibiotics, which you should be aware of, and it should always be your inhaler, whether it's Ventolin, Easy Clear, Terbutaline, which one it is, it doesn't really matter, but that's your first procedure. And then you would either use your saline after it. Some people can't tolerate saline, so some people will just jump straight onto it, straight onto the antibiotic. Haha, not interested. If you're not interested, mate, kindly leave the room, or I'll do it for you. You know what I mean, mate? In a bit, you sausage. So he does it again. He gets a permanent block. I don't understand why people come to your channel who are not interested. They're probably not getting enough entertainment at home from the loved one. They've probably gone to bed. They've probably gone to bed because they're boring. All right, there, Johnny Ortiz. Salute you there from the UK, Manchester area. So yeah, so that's a procedure we do. So it's either an inhaler followed by a saline, and then your antibiotics. Come to Essex, mate. I don't need to come to Essex, mate. Why don't you just bugger off, mate, before you get a full-time plan? In a bit, mate. You sausage. Go back to this way's Essex, mate. You know what I mean? Absolute idiot. So, if I've got a moderator on here, I'm trying to block this fool. Let me just block him. If not, I'll block him when I go on in a bit. But let's stick to people who want to speak about lung disease. I'm not a fool called Lance. So yeah, so if you are interested in lung disease, guys, it's a good topic really, because I believe that in the next few years there's going to be more people diagnosed with lung conditions just because of air pollution, especially these e-cigarettes as well. These e-cigarettes that people are smoking, right? They don't even know what damage they're doing to their health. What else is there? There's so much stuff. There's all this car pollution. That's always been there. If we go back to the 90s era, there was cars on the road, but you could actually park these cars from the curb and not on the pavement. Now there's so many cars now that people are parking on the pavement, and they're almost blocking people's gates. That says there's not enough, there's not enough room on these roads for the cars. So I do worry, and I do worry about babies in particular. I worry about people who do jogging outside, where, say for instance well, not a dual carriageway, but a busy road that gets a lot of traffic, and it's a standstill, standstill traffic, and they're jogging behind all that exhaust emissions. It can't be great for someone's lungs. And I have seen over the years a lot of people coming off the roads. You don't see half as many joggers on the roads that you used to see years ago. People might say it's because of the potholes, it's because the council don't take care of the roads, the streets, but I believe it's because of these cars. And yeah, it's weird that with all this technology we've got, with all this good health, programs, with all this diets, going to your doctors, all right there, Heach Beach, going to your doctors, that we are all getting a bit poorlier. We seem to be dying younger now. If we look at our generation years ago, especially from my mother's side, so my mother's, what would it be? My mother's mother, they all lived till their 80s, 82, 84. And yeah, there was none of this fast food. There was none of this fast food what there is today, and that's another thing we've got to think about. But yeah, they had diabetes, or they had, high blood pressure, or they had something, but they lived a good age. Yeah, it was either, cancer at the end, or Alzheimer's and things like that. So we've got to think about it. You can't sit in your house all day, can you? You can't sit in your house and have acrophobia. But maybe think about when you do go for a walk, that fresh air morning time. If you can't get out in the morning, what about when the city sleeps a bit? What about when it's, night time, and the traffic's not as bad? Because it's getting a joke. You can't even cross. I don't want to keep banging on about the roads, but you can't even cross the roads. You're waiting to cross a road, and if there's no bloody lights, you could be waiting there all day, unless someone, has got some respect, and then lets you go across. And it actually happened to me the other day. Right, I was going across the road, and there was two people, and the guy stopped on the car, and he sort of, like flashed the lights to let him go, and then the idiots went like, no, no, it's okay, and then the driver's not looking at me crossing the road. So I'm going across the road, and that guy, what they seem to do, these people, they stop to let a pedestrian cross the road, and when that pedestrian either says no thanks or crosses the road, they then put the foot down to the pedal. And I don't know why they do this. If he wasn't in a rush and he was going to stop the car to let a pedestrian cross the road, then be mindful of when you're setting back off. And this is where accidents happen. So just be careful. Do you know anything about the gin? What about the gin, man? What you going on about the gin? You on about the devil? Don't know what you're about. So yeah, Johnny Ortiz, my sister sees your videos. Who's your sister, brother? I don't know her, mate. But yeah. Anyway, so I don't know why I've come on. I'm a bit bored. I always do this at night time. So how to get rid of him? Yeah, how to get rid of him? Right. What kind of religion are you? Have you got a religion? I'm a Catholic Christian. So the best thing to do to get rid of any demonic, what do you call them, creatures, demonic people in your life, demonic atmosphere, is to first off, think how are you allowing demonic forces in. Are you watching things you shouldn't be watching? Are you, doing things you shouldn't be doing? Are you living in sin? Because that is, a gateway to allow badness in your life. But there's also, if you are doing good in your life, that you get attacked when you're doing good. So if you're speaking the word of God, if you're encouraging someone, if you try to help someone, the attacks from the devil come tenfold, and that is to discourage you on the track you're on or where you're heading. So some people might think, well, I've been very spiritual, I've been going to church, I've been going to the mosque, I've been praying, but I'm getting all these nightmares, I'm getting all this bad luck, and that's just to test your faith. That's to test your faith, and then you might think the devil's stronger than your God, and then you might question things. And this is what the devil's about. It's to cause confusion. So if you can cause confusion, you are then creating the breeding nest for all bad spirits, for all bad energy to just supply, multiply, and then affect your life. So it's very important that you speak positivity. Okay, even when you're not feeling the greatest, speak positive words. Yeah, and if you do feel like something bad's happening in your life, if you do feel an attack, meet that attack straight in the face. Say, I know all of your attacks. I know what you can do to me. Look it straight in the face and say, do your fucking worst. My God will protect me 10 times on a Sunday and 13 times on a Tuesday. You've got to look that demon in the face, or whatever it is that's trying to control your life, that's trying to wreck your life. Look it in the face and say, my God is greater than you, and my day is going to be okay. And I think that's all you got to do. Don't worry too much. Don't believe in bad spirits. Don't watch these horror movies. Don't celebrate Halloween. Simple thing. If you can't preach. You can't practice two things at the same time. That makes no sense. Okay, so you can't believe in a God, someone divine, someone who loves you, but then go and commit stupid stuff like get drunk every week, take drugs, or go on ghost hunts. These things were big. Ghost hunts, especially ghost adventures. I used to watch that, and yeah, people go in blind a lot. So yeah, so who's this? Michelle Schiavi. Sounds German, but yeah, I just try and live my life the best I can. I mean, I can't always, I can't always be very positive, but I've also got to be fortunate that positive things are going to come my way. I'm not going to live in denial. I'm not going to live in regret, and I'm not going to live in confusion or worry. But there's days where I might fall back on that and start thinking about, oh, I'm having a bad day. Could things not go? Could things not go any better for me? And then you're creating your own confusion in life. Never create confusion or worry. So thank you. I'm trying. They do wreck a lot. It depends what you do. You've got to understand that there's people around you as well that don't want the best for you sometimes. So you could give good news to someone, and just because you're happy about that thing in particular, you telling someone, they may not even be interested, they may not care, and they also may wish you bad luck. That's why there's a saying as well. I don't know if you're aware of it or anyone else. When you get pregnant, you're not supposed to tell anyone for 3 months. And that's for many reasons. Some people say superstition, some people say other things. So what the information you give out to people and they don't come back with the response you were looking for, it's going to hinder your confidence, it's going to upset you, and ultimately, if you really cared about someone's validation, it's going to stress you out because you're looking for answers that only exist in your head. And what you got to remember is the person who's successful in life is not the person that tells everyone his business. The relationship that works is not the one that when there's bad times they go off to other people and they're searching for answers of broken people. So it's about confining your energy, good or bad, and it's about keeping it to yourself and resolve. If you can't do that in anything, I guarantee you're going to have chaos in your life. And with chaos comes problems. With problems comes more problems. So, you have to contain. You have to contain it. You can't entertain drama. That's one thing I've learned. You can't wish goodness on a person. You can't tell them you want them to change because they're not willing to change. So what I've learned over the years is I wish them the best. I cannot force anything upon them by telling them they can do better, they can do more, because they see it as disrespect. They don't see it from the place it comes from. They don't see it as encouragement. So what you've got to learn as a person going forward is don't give so much of yourself to someone who's not willing to change, for someone who's not willing to listen, for someone who's not willing to adapt and take it on board. Because we are spiritual people. At the end of the day, we are spiritual people. So if we're giving that love, time, affection, and all that's happening is it's ricocheting off the person like a sound wave, and it's just going out the window, it's just hitting a brick wall, then that vibration of energy that God has given to us is being wasted. You wouldn't fill up a car full of petrol, would you? And then just leave your ignition on and just leave it overnight. You wouldn't do that, would you? Because you'd be wasting your energy, you'd be wasting your petrol. Someone might rob your car. So you get the principle here. Don't give too much of yourself, because in the process, you will lose yourself trying to save someone else who's not willing to save themselves. So this is what life's about. At the age of 38, life has taught me a lot of things. Yeah, it's taught me a lot. It's sometimes you have to become blind to people's stupidity. You can see, you can see the stupidity. You can see where things are going, but you can't steer that person. You've tried to steer him all your life. So the best way to do is shut off from people who don't want to listen to you, who don't want to take advice, don't want to take direction, and put it into something else that is more valuable. Put it into an interest, a hobby. Put that passion into something else. And I guarantee you, by putting yourself into something that makes you happy, rather than seeing someone unhappy or someone's way of thinking, and then try and change that way of thinking, you're just creating injury for yourself. Yeah, you're just creating an injury that's never going to go away. What I've learned over the years is I will not be a parrot to anyone anymore. I won't direct them anymore. I'll let them have their own. I'll let them have their own life, their own destiny. Because at the end of the day, I certainly can't change. I can't change what someone's going to do. Okay, so I've learned the hard way that until you could be blue in the face, you're not going to change someone's conception of life, or where they're going, or where they're heading. And that's just because I've learned through the many people I've met in my life that we as human beings, we don't look within most of the times. We just we kind of deflect, and that's an ego-driven thing. So if you can contain your ego, if you can be humble, yeah, and if you can, know in yourself that you might have irritated a person, or you may have upset a person, there's a couple of ways you can go about things. You can apologise to him, you can talk to him, you can tell him you didn't cause offence, you didn't mean to. Now, it's not in your control what that person then does, okay? That person could do 10 different things. They can acknowledge your apology. They can also, ignore you. They can also hold grudges, or they also could throw an insult on top of that. So that's where I'm saying, you have to learn this is psychology. You're not in control of what the outcome is. Yeah, you're not in control of someone else's outcome, right? Have you ever heard about an alcoholic who's in denial? When you say you're drinking every week, that's a bit much. Yeah, but I'm not an alcoholic. Yeah, people are in denial. That they never self-reflect. What they do, they they magnify someone else's problems because they're too scared to look in the mirror. Yeah, and this is where bad energy comes from. We're not here to fix, what I've learned in life, we're not here to fix people. As much as we want to fix people, we can't fix them. Yeah, we're not mechanics on people. Now, you can be the voice of reason. You can speak to people, and you could save someone's life by being that voice. But you can also be that person that's giving a person advice. That's that nagging voice, and that's where I believe demons and things like that come into play. Because if a person is giving someone advice, a person that they love, let's say this scenario, they're giving someone something that is coming from the heart and they love, and that person is then looking for every little outcome to shift blame or reverse the role. You ain't getting nowhere, because the bigger picture, what you're focusing on, you're getting nowhere with it. You're now talking about something that isn't the problem that you're focusing on. So, listen. My advice to people is people don't always listen to listen. I've been watching these videos, very true. They only listen to reply. Okay? They only listen to reply. They don't listen because they want to take your advice on board. They don't listen because they want to, take that advice and look what they can do moving forward. They only listen to reply, and most of the time it's in a derogatory way. It's almost like, oh, you've insulted me, and it's shame. It's a shame, because people who give people the time of day and comes from a good place, they need to embrace that, because one day they will never have that person again in their life. Some people would rather have someone blow smoke up their ass. Yeah, I've learnt in life, some people would rather have their ego boosted and have people blow smoke in their ass and their ass and tell them everything they're good at. That's not me. Yeah, I'll compliment you if you do something good, and I'll also tell you what you're doing wrong. And that's because I'm a real person. I don't see things through one lens. I won't focus on your bad point, and I won't focus on just your good points. My whole purpose in life, I believe, well, I'm 38 now, so I don't know how long I'll be here. I've got a lung condition, I've got other conditions, but I believe my main purpose in life is to speak about lung disease, to speak about, my faith, speak about Jesus, and bring as many people closer to the cross than a priest could. It's not possible. I know it's not possible, but that's my goals, that's my ambitions. There's too many negative people out there. They see they see something and they only see it as, I can't achieve this, I can't achieve that, and I can't achieve this. And you're like, okay, you may never get to a place where, everyone's clapping, look, I knew you could do it, kind of thing. But I feel like there's got to be a purpose in life. And it's not just to get a girlfriend, a boyfriend, get married, have kids, and then die. I think there's more to life. So as you get a bit older, you start looking into, I think everyone's been there, isn't it? You start looking into things, what's life about? And that's one thing that you kind of do as you get a bit older. And I don't think you worry too much as well, because by the time you get to about 30, 40, you've seen a lot of people, you've lost a lot of people, loved ones. You know what I mean? You start knowing your time's creeping up, so you start questioning things. What's life about? Is it about being a great father? Yeah, that's a good thing. Is it to be a great family man? Yeah. Is it to help people? Of course. But there's got to be more than that in it. There's got to be more than just being a good person. There's got to be more than just getting through day-to-day life, putting food on the table. Yeah, and it's mad that we have internet now, so we're able to spread a message very quickly, without having to see people, without having to post a flyer through someone's letterbox, and it's mad. So yeah, I think that this is two things I want to achieve. I want to try and help people with lung disease. I want to try and get a better NHS that help people with bronchiectasis in particular. And one, I want to spread the gospel. So that's my two things, in life. And I'm not bothered about materialistic things. I'm not bothered about owning things. I'm not bothered about having lots of money. I'm not bothered about, anything. Friends, yeah, they come and go. So there's not much you can lose in life that I haven't already lost anyway. So I think it shapes you and it builds you into the person you are going forward. So when you see that resilient old guy full of knowledge, listen to him. Don't think he's telling you a boring old story. Listen to him. I give some advice today, actually, to a young couple, one of my family members, and I just said they looked to the wall. We had an anniversary with 55 years married, mum and dad. So I turned around and said, the success to a long marriage, it's these simple things, okay? This will get you from where people are just breaking up. When you have a problem, you sit there and you speak about it. If that problem can't be resolved, you don't go to bed knowing you still got that problem. You never take your problems to the bedroom, okay? Also, you never sleep on the sofa. You should never go. You should never go to bed angry at each other. Yeah, because all you're doing is conditioning each other. You're conditioning each other that I'm sleeping on the sofa. You might as well not be together. So, like I say, the key to a successful marriage is when you do have a problem, because everyone has a problem in relationships. You have your little spit, you have your little spot. You try stay away from personal things, but sometimes personal things do get mentioned. When they do get mentioned, don't feel like your ego's been broken. It's come from a very angry person. Make sure once you've said your shit, you've apologised to each other, and that's the end of it. Because too many people in this world, the relationships break down because they do not have communication skills. They really don't have communication skills. And they're always searching for validation, okay? Validation they'll never find. They'll go to someone who's fucking had 10 failed relationships and ask for validation. Yeah? You've got to look within. You've got to really look within. What happens in your four walls, as long as there's nothing illegal and there's no domestic violence and there's no nonsense, what happens in your four walls really should stay in your four walls. Because once you start gossiping, what I've learned, once you start gossiping about, your problems, that's just putting negative energy out there. And then there is going to be one negative person on the other side that is going to give you something that you're looking for. Put shit in your head and then say, I'm not easy manipulated. You are. Because if you're a donkey and you're running for validation off another donkey, then you kind of are. It's like the sheep leading the blind. So, like I say, what? Don't tell friends. Don't tell friends, because in this day and age, it's not like confiding in a friend. When you've got a problem, it's not like confiding in a friend where you could go round, you have a cup of tea, you have a couple of biscuits, you tell them your shit. Worst case scenario years ago, you leave the house, you vented your frustration, you go back to your missus. Derek might ring his mate Paul. Yeah, I've just had him round. But it ends there. In this generation, it's full of WhatsApp conversations, Facebook conversations, Facebook statuses. It's all a gossiping world. In a gossiping world, you're just asking for disaster. It's okay to ring your mother. How you doing, mum? Yeah, is dad okay? Yeah, have you been shopping? Things like that are fine. But what I've noticed is when it's going off track and you're talking about things that aren't concerning these people, then you have a big issue. You have a huge issue. You have invited the devil itself into your playground. People don't realise that. So like I say, the tongue is a weapon. Use it wisely. And don't always, always look at yourself as a good person. Because I can tell you one thing before I go. There's not a person in this world that is a good person. There's not one person who hasn't sinned. There isn't one person who hasn't, fell short of God's glory. We ain't as good as we think we are. So until we can lose this chip on our shoulders that thinks we're the best thing since sliced bread, we're going to continue to be where we're going to be. And on that note, I'm going because it's a random live, and I did want to talk about lung disease, but we've had a good chat. Whether I keep this chat on, whether I keep this on, I don't know. But I'll sure will bloody fall asleep to watching my own video tonight because it's been about half an hour long. Give you some good advice. You can do that in any walk of life. It doesn't mean to be girlfriend and boyfriend. It can be brother and sister. It can be anything. But it's like one of my family members got a phone call, and they were just venting their frustration on one of my loved ones. So one of my loved ones was listening. But then, when my loved one spoke back and said, 1 minute, you're saying I've done all wrong, and you never done wrong to me. And that's when you'll see someone's ego shatter, and that's when you'll see the fakery of a person, because they'll never admit where they did wrong. And if we live in that society, bloody fucking, we need a reality check, because the world is too self-focused, and it's sad really, innit? Right guys, gotta love you and leave you. I'm out of here.